everybody. Happy Friday. So I want to keep the conversation going with based on the video that I did a while back, and the title of that video was "Recognizing Self-Imposed Limitations." You know, your belief system has a lot to do with the things that you're going to try to achieve in your life. Like, do you first believe that you can do it? Right? The answer has to be yes. Then two, the next most important thing, and this is not debatable, is do you have the will to do it? I do. I have a strong will, right? There's times when it hasn't served me well, but being that I'm very reflective and I'm introspective, I've learned how to handle that. And our longtime friend Roman wrote in, saying, "Hey, like, what's the choice?" Well, the choice is to stop giving your money away to these companies and save, and to sit on the sidelines. That might not be what you want to hear, but what do you think it is? Right? If we were sitting down over a beer and you said, well, what's the alternative? I'd be like, well, stop buying $6 coffees in the morning. Stop buying the new Air Jordans every year. Don't upgrade your new iPhone and save your money. That's what I had to do. So that's what I think you should do, or whoever, we're speaking about. Or find a salesperson or a marketer or partner up with someone who has risk capital that's willing to back you and try it. Because what you don't want to do is to say, well, I can go to XYZ firm, and I am thinking about a firm here. I just don't want to mention them in by name because I don't affiliate market, and I don't necessarily have any axe to grind with anybody. But if you're at firm XYZ, they might say, okay, you have to make, here's your loss number. Let's pick a number off the top of my head. The most you can lose in any rolling period of time is have a drawdown at $2,500. We're going to need to see you make $7,500. Here are the instruments that you can trade. Can't take anything home overnight. So now, this basically discounts anybody who's a swing trader, anyone who's an intermediate trend follower, long-term trend follower, or position trader like me. All you people are out of the market. You people. Remember Ross Perot? So that might work if you happen, right? Because I talked to you about the disadvantages of trying to buy somebody else's trading rules or system, right, to see how they fit. It's a miracle if they do, right? Even if you bought Curtis Faith's book, Way of the Turtle, and you looked at the book where he talks about the trading rules and his experience with them, people are like, yes, there were 8 people in the class, but that's randomness. They didn't, they were, queried and interviewed for XYZ personal characteristics, but it's still random, right? In the short run, everything is random. You can't put a label on people, right, in the short run. Now, some of them have gone on to do good things. Others have gone on and have blown up and had to launch second and third funds because the drawdowns got so big that it would have taken years for them to follow their own trading rules to earn any incentive fees, right? So there's a whole underbelly to these types of things that doesn't get written about because it's not in anyone's best interest. It doesn't help you raise money, doesn't help you sell shit. But that's the truth. But that's true of anybody's system, even mine. So, drawdowns, big drawdowns. Look, Bill Dunn had 3 years where he was down 15% in a row for 3 years in a row, and he's Bill Dunn. And he'll go down as one of the best ever. He's since retired. So no one's immune. But, I don't know if Roman's just asking rhetorically or he just likes to say stuff that I've already kind of said and he's parroting back to me so that he can understand it himself. It's like, how badly do you want it? Because that's going to dictate, the relative strength of you. What is your RSI? If it's only 20, then it doesn't really matter funding accounts or not because you're not really committed. If you are really gung-ho about it like I was, you might be a penny stock that's undiscovered with a high relative strength. So to me, it was like, I don't care how long it takes. It took me 4 years. Where you going, right? If it takes you 4 or 5 years, does that mean you suck? Does that mean you're worse than me? And if you're able to do it in 1 year compared to the 4 years that I took, I don't think it says anything. It's just like, that's how long it takes. However long it takes you is how long as it takes. You can't get hung up on that. I'm not concerned with how long it takes somebody to do it. But what I do care about, and what the point of that show was, that particular episode, is that you're letting the outside world affect your internal game. If you're not a day trader trying to go get a funding or get funded by one of these paper trading funding sources and all their rules, it's not a marriage made in heaven, and it's not going to be, because it's not your emotional makeup to be the person that they're telling you to be, right? If you also look at the small print, you could find yourself in a spot where you put on a bunch of trades, doesn't matter what the instruments, say there's a bunch of micros, and you put the micros on, and you catch a good move in the market. And you go, and next thing you know, you're up, you've had $1,000 pullback, so no problem there. You go back in the next day, because again, you have to offset the winning trades, even though you don't want to, right? So again, outside world affecting your internal game, right? As opposed to just being yourself, you see, which you can do with another funding source. Now you're up 10K on that period on the evaluation period. But something happens and the market moves very, very quickly, and one particular day you're down 3K. Your account's still up 7,000. If that was real money, that was yours, you'd still be happy. If it was a client account and you were up 7K, again, depends. If it's 10 million bucks, it's a rounding error, no one cares. But you're still up 7K, but because it's more than the 2,500 drawdown, you got knocked out. You got to redo your evaluation. That makes no sense to me, right? But that's how these things are run. So I have a cast iron stomach. That type of drawdown wouldn't spook me, right? Giving back 25% of unrealized gains in a trade. Again, there's all shapes and sizes. Some of you might be like, dude, that's crazy. What are you, insane? You risky gambler, dice roller. But that's my temperament. You have to know what you're in it for, right? You have to know why you're taking on the risk and you're putting in the hours. For me, I don't need to have a green day every day. It's not how I'm built. I don't care about that. I know how to play the odds. I know how to play the percentages. I know I'm perfectly calibrated for market activity. So as long as I'm making money, I don't care how it shows up, right? Because for all the money that the people make on any given day, you just wonder and say, well, if you bought at the beginning of the month and held it through the month, would you have more money than all the green days added up? You see? So again, it's not necessarily what's better or worse. It's what's best for you. So I don't like the idea, though, of having these limitations that other people are putting on you. Because to me, it's not necessarily a panacea. I don't care if it's $40 a month. That's $500 a year. Again, we're talking about where can you find your trading grub stake. Look at all the places where you're leaking. How much you're paying for cable. How much are you paying at the coffee shops every day, every week, every month? And add all that up. You know, I know people who love to smoke tobacco. They just didn't want to spend $5-6 a day. So what's, $5 a day, smoke a pack a day, that all that money adds up. Go through your budget and find out where you're leaking. Because it doesn't seem like much. Yeah, I'm going to just sign up for this subscription. It's only $19 a month. Well, you do that 5 times, and now you got $100 of getting pissed away. And so, this is where you can find your money, is stop paying other people for shit you don't need, and then put your money in the account. So I know at the end, Roman, because this isn't about Roman, right? I want to be clear about that. I'm not picking on Roman's an active member of the community, leaves good, comments. So Roman and everyone listening, this is me making a point on what he said, just so we're clear. And he says at the end, otherwise, I am also very critical of these new prop trading providers, and I completely agree with you. For some, however, this seems to be life-changing. I might disagree with you there, Ro, because the folks that I know have 4 or 5, some of them have 10 accounts or more that they're paying $40 for, trying different strategies, having a car in every lane, saying as long as the one car wins, that's the one I'm going with. But that to me is the wrong strategy, because it's the wrong strategy to get funded, because the strategy that you were using to get funded might not necessarily be who you are. It just might have been the lucky strategy of that week or that month. Then there's like, well, we want to make sure that you're not just lucky, which I'll take luck all the time. and you have to trade at least 10 days every month or something like that. So even if your setup isn't there, you got to put on trades. That's bullshit. Now, if you're so desperate, go through it. But you're not going to get my buy-in, right? I'm sorry. That's not how I'm built. I'd rather have, if there's 100 people in the room, I might be the guy that everyone doesn't like because I'm going to speak my mind. Not for the sake of standing up and speaking my mind, but this is one of those areas where people think like this is a cool way to kind of get into it. But with the limitations, it's just going to be a random accident whether or not you're congruent with kind of what the imposed limitations are. A better way to do it would be to say, here's what I want in my life, and I'm going to manifest it. Remember, folks, you can't buy your way out of emotional discomfort. You have to put in the work, and that might mean going up to rich people and asking them for money. And if you can't find that, then you have to find a directory of rich people or family offices or this, that, or the other thing and start writing cold emails. You might have to get a premium account at LinkedIn, if there's anyone in the world who's still on LinkedIn, and start going after people that way. You might have to hire a sales and marketing outfit or something like that. Again, it depends. If you really want it, you'll get it done. That's my experience. There were people who I worked with and I went to college with, and I was like, wow, this person has a lot of potential, but they're lazy sacks of shit. They're not going to get anywhere. They're super comfortable right now. They don't have any reason to apply themselves. You see? So there was a lot of wisdom, in Gecko's comment. I can't remember the exact quote where he said, give me guys that are, smart, hungry, and poor to some extent, because they have every motivation to want to go and win. For me, I wanted to escape my blue-collar despair and work white-collar. And I still had to go through, white-collar despair because I was acting like a blue-collar guy in a white-collar outfit, right? Because I was working hard. I was logging lots of hours. That's not necessarily smart. But when you're ignorant, you don't know any better. So then you realize, well, now I got to be efficient. You see? So anyway, that's my thought process. Be careful of what you think is going to be the new godsend, because in my experience and in my 35 years, we talked about the coming and going of asset classes and ticker symbols and stuff. Everything will have its moment where it looks really, really good, but when you peel back the skin and look at it, it's fake boobs, okay? Anyway, I appreciate everyone being here. I try to find windows of time. Time's very, very valuable. Hopefully we can keep doing it. I appreciate the comments. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week on Monday. Okay, everybody, thanks for being here. Please take a minute, like and subscribe to the show. You could also leave a comment. I don't have all the answers, so it's good to get some feedback. Also, if you would like to support the show, check out the links below. You can get the free audiobook of The Inner Voice of Trading, and also information about the course that I teach with Victor Sperandio. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.